Hello and welcome to The Timeline. My name is Parker and I'm the founding designer here at Sequence. And for a long time, we've been tossing around the idea of a position that we see as kind of the cornerstone of Sequence's public persona. And it's a bit obscure to define. So I wanted to take some time here to just do a bit of a deep dive into where our head is at. Here's the big thing you need to know about Sequence is that we're not like other technology companies, We're not like the other ones. The full name of the company is Sequence Arts and Technologies, Inc. And both of those things, the art of video production and the technology to make it happen, are of equal importance to us. You see a lot of people these days that are trying to create new creative tools from a very technologically driven focus. And several of us on the team have worked on creative applications at other companies where it seemed like people just kind of did all the product development work that they were asked to do and told to do, but they never actually used the product themselves and never got a sense for what it was like to do the thing that they were trying to enable. So our goal from early on at Sequence is to make video making as much a part of our core as the technology development that we're doing to enable the video making in the first place. But in order to balance that with product development, we feel like we're at a point where we really need somebody around who's sort of like our leader for our video making strategy. Something that's been really popular in startups lately, especially startups focused on developer tooling, is the role of a developer advocate, which feels like these developer advocates are more of a two-way sort of liaison where they teach people how to use the product, but they also inform how to make the product better. So what we really want is that, but for the art of video production using Sequence. Where is this actually going? What's the plan? This is very vague. So I'm going to take a few minutes to get deeper into this now. So getting Sequence to where it is today has been a long journey that started back when Luke started the company very early on in the pandemic. And that long process has really come down to trying to validate whether this idea of high-end cloud-based video editing actually works at all. There's all these different little pieces that have to connect in order to have really powerful video processing in the cloud and be able to stream it back to people with low latency, be able to work on things in a multiplayer timeline, which has never been done before, and then to wrap it all in an interface that feels intuitive and easy to use. We've been working on little pieces of this for the last couple of years, and only now does it feel like it's really coming together in a cohesive way that works exactly as we want it to, and that it is capable of making videos. And we do our own video production within Sequence now. The gist of this is really to say Sequence is finally in a place where you can do a lot of video creation on it. We're about to start moving very, very fast as a company in 2024, and we need to figure out how to communicate our vision to the rest of the world. And there's a lot that we could say about forming that go-to-market strategy in 2024, but I think that what's actually more important to talk about now for this role is the long-term vision of Sequence. When I was first looking at startups in this space to join, I saw that there were a lot of interesting startups. Most of them are just trying to make the slickest, simplest, coolest way to do a small short-form video or a piece of the video process. And those are really good things to pursue on their own. And they are really interesting and useful right now. But when you narrow your ultimate goal down to this sort of narrow niche, blocks your capability of what you might be able to do in the future. There were two specific goals you described to me with Sequence, which made me completely set that this was the company that was going to be building the future of filmmaking and the company that I wanted to be a part of. The first was we got along on this idea of being equal parts technology and art. We're super inspired by companies like Lucasfilm and Pixar, which have been mammoths in the world of cinema for their beloved films and incredible storytelling. But in order to tell those stories, these companies needed to make entirely new technology and entirely new ways of working. And the technological breakthroughs that they came up with are the single biggest contributors to the reason why we had the entire transformation from analog film to digital video, and the entire reason why 3D animation and computer graphics can be used in the service of art. That's because of these filmmaking companies making the technology to make it happen. So we really want to do that. I don't know if this is just a way for a bunch of techies to actually get involved in the process of making movies instead, but even more than scratching the itch to make movies ourselves, we think that this strategy is going to be an interesting thing that sets Sequence apart from other technology startups in the space. We are a technology company, we are VC funded, we are an early stage startup, but our core identity is in the service of telling great stories and improving the lives of other storytellers. The second thing that really sold me on Sequence was when Luke told me that his 10-year vision for Sequence was capped off by seeing an Academy Award-winning film for Best Picture that was edited on Sequence. And this was in the year of 2022, the year that Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was edited on Premiere Pro, won the Academy Award for Best Picture and Best Editing. And this movie is one of the most complicated editorial projects the world has ever seen, but it was also done in a highly collaborative and really unconventional process that you don't see a lot in the world of filmmaking. So as soon as he told me that, it gave me an instant vision of what it was we're actually trying to build. What we are building is a comprehensive workspace for thinking with video and crafting video at the highest possible level, along with creative collaborators, right in the context of the timeline. And being able to support that level of work, even though that's like a 10-year vision, working towards that has driven every single decision that we make here. And the other thing that's driven our decisions is our principles. The first bit of work that Lucas and I did when I first joined the company together was to try to create a set of principles that would guide how we were going to work together and what we were going to give editors. And the three principles that we settled on were powerful, expressive, and humane. Sequence needs to be powerful because film and video is hard work. And this means that we recognize the intense work that editorial teams do, and we not only strive to create a powerhouse tool that can handle those technical needs, but we also look at opportunities to frame Sequence as having these low floors and high ceilings, meaning that it's easy for anyone to step into the app in a day, but should be able to scale to the level of complexity that they need. Secondly, Sequence is expressive because film and video is an art form. When somebody's trying to pour their heart and soul into a video project, it shouldn't feel like a chore, right? It should be delightful. I mean, video making already involves high-pressure deadlines and stakeholders and spending endless hours trying to craft and edit in the timeline. And we think something that makes Sequence unique is our obsessive focus on the editorial experience and how to make that process really, really enjoyable for the craftspeople that participate in it. But aside from helping other people be more expressive, we also want to be more expressive ourselves as well. We want to be a storytelling company that invites people into our journey and shares our ideas openly and earnestly, which means we need to be making way more videos ourselves. And then finally, Sequence is humane because film and video is by people and for people. We've all seen what tech startups were like in the 2010s, and I think now in the 2020s, we're really starting to see kind of the negative effects of that. And the truth is that this sort of hyper-growth, move fast and break things modality led to some really, really incredible technology breakthroughs, but it also led to some really, really unsustainable business strategies and far too many examples of both users and employees being burned by bad business decisions. When we're talking about something as personal and intimate as crafting stories for the screen, we can't afford to treat people like that. It's paramount that we respect our users, that we're open and transparent with them, and that we also treat all of our business partners and employees with that same level of respect. So those are our principles. They're all very high-level, nebulous visions that just kind of guide our internal thinking. But then we also needed a way to start to try to think about how we communicate to other people what it is we're actually doing. And that's where the Sequence method comes in. The Sequence method is our attempt to put a name to the way that we work on videos that is different from how other people work on videos. And we're still very early on in defining what this means, but sort of the core principle is what happens when you don't treat the timeline as the final stage of a video project in a place that only the post-production team goes? What happens if the timeline is this glue that holds the entire video process together? And if it could be your collaborative sketchbook for planning, producing, and polishing video projects from beginning to end. And so in a large part, the editor advocate will be kind of the public face that teaches the rest of the world about the Sequence method as we discover what it is and what it means. So finally, with all of that out of the way, the role of the editor advocate will be the first position on our team to exist outside of product development. And really the primary mandate here would just be make cool shit all the time. Just keep making cool shit. Figure out new ways to use the app, figure out how to push it to achieve an effect you want to do, figure out what it means to tell stories in a completely new tool, and then teach other people how to make cool shit. well, it's not it, but that's priority one. So essentially the Editor Advocate will start out by kind of kickstarting our own internal video strategy. The second focus would be to engage with filmmakers and help us start to build out an exciting and thriving community of creators and video makers. So this would mean the standard things like helping out with release videos, but I also think there's so much space to grow here in creating engaging and informative storytelling strategies that, you know, almost like help form a little like cult-like appreciation for Sequence. Not that like we want to be worshipped like a cult, it's just we want to have like, you know what I mean. We're also really interested in engaging with existing video teams and new indie film projects to essentially act as like an executive producer in supporting their work via Sequence. So we're looking for somebody who has really, really strong social skills and can help act as sort of like a liaison to facilitate those partnerships. And I would hope that in return, our Editor Advocate is driven and excited to sort of like soak up being in this really unique space at this really unique time. Along the way, learn a lot about technology and filmmaking and startups and web apps. We're putting together like a superstar team, and I could personally talk your ear off for days about film theory and interface design paradigms, but there's also so much to learn from folks like Miriam Nadler, who's our front-end engineer and is like truly one of the most impressive minds in the front-end space that any of us have ever met. Or we've got like Brian Williams, our CTO, who spent 20 years building filmmaking tools at Avid and Adobe before joining us. So like, if you ever wanted to know why filmmaking is the way that it is today, at least on the post-production side, you're gonna have a hard time finding anyone with more experience and insight than him. The Editor Advocate is someone who's like really excited to just like be a part of all of this, but also kind of act as a beacon to help share our story with the world and bring even more people to join this incredible team and create a more vibrant community of people who love film and video and making things and are working to build the future of video production. So yeah, that's a lot, but if that sounds like you, we would love to talk more. Until then, see you in the timeline.